Huh. How do you like them apples? You got it all figured out. I know exactly what's happening. Good morning, random citizen. Hi, and thanks for tuning in. This is the Learn with John Eick podcast, and I actually believe that today is day 88 on my 180-day drive to school, to work, to this place that kids go to 180 times a year, and I go to like 223 times a year. And it's good, man, and it's good. And you know what I was thinking was that, like, kids go to school 180 times. I was having a conversation with a fifth grader who was in my house. It's my child. And she said, what are we talking about? We're talking about something to the effect of, like, why does school 180 days? I said, well, actually, it's interesting because, because this is the conversation we're having. It's actually interesting because education code allows public charter schools to only go to school 175 days, offering them the flexibility, blah, 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 right? And she's like, cool. So why don't we go to school 175 days? Because we can. And I was like, well, because then you'll lose out 5 days of learning. Like, don't you want 5 days? That's a dumb question, right? Don't you want 5 days learning? Don't we want you to have 5 more days learning? And she's like, what really gets done in 5 days? And I was like, wow, honestly, if you do the math, there is not enough time in 180 days to get all the things done that I think we all want to get done. There's just not, because we're not robots, and there needs to be like some processing time and some rest time and some, there's time. You can't just come to school 8 hours a day and like fill the brain bucket. That's like the banking model of learning, right? Where you're like, just deposit learning into brains, and you can deposit one nugget of information every 3 to 5 minutes for 8 hours a day. And at the end of the year, you're going to have 1 gajillion nuggets of knowledge. And there you go. We learned, and none of the research, none of the educational philosophy, nothing supports that. Everything, every researcher has come up with a very similar, like, hey, learning is social, learning is contextual, learning is, there's a lot of variables, and so you have to plan accordingly. Like, right, your unit plan is going to be, 4 weeks long, but you got to build in some time because something goes longer, something goes shorter, some kid goes faster, some kid goes slower. You gotta, I know people call it differentiation or personalization, but like, there are so many variables to this, right? So you go, okay, why don't we go to school 180 days? Even my daughter says, hey, why don't we go to school 175 days? I don't know. Maybe you should go to school 175 days, and a guy like me should probably have to go to school 195 days. But the system don't work that way. Because we work inside a system that tries to find, grounds upon which we can just say, hey, this is what we can all agree on, and we're going to try and meet in the middle. That's not what I came in to riff on today. What it made me think, though, is that kids basically go to professional development 180 times a year. I mean, that's what school is, right? Is it professional development? It's learning development. It is a facilitated learning opportunity. Okay, check. We as grown-ups, at my organization, every other week is a professional development, little couple-hour session every other week, and we do it throughout the year, as opposed to having those two mega PD days in the middle of the year, which I like to have them all. The point is, I don't know, man. I love learning. I dig it. But let's be honest, like, it can be hit or miss. Meaning that, like, a lot goes into learning. If we believe learning is social, and we believe that it is contextual, and we believe that there are more variables than we like to give it credit for, if I say to you, hey, you can't just load 28 kids into a classroom and have one lesson plan that's one size fits all, and I want you to have relationships with everybody in the room so that they're highly motivated to engage in the lesson that you developed, and then you turn around and you hold a professional development and you cram everybody in one room and you have a freaking top-down lecture for 2 hours with some slides from an outside presenter, and you go, oh, this is horrible. And what happens in that PD, in my opinion, and what do I know? I'm an amateur. I think what happens in that professional development is exactly what happens in our classrooms if the classrooms aren't as awesome as the ones we have. Now, I work in a place with exceptional, exemplary learning facilitators, right? Our teachers are really, really top notch. And I'm not just blowing smoke, like legit, if you come visit. I challenge you, if you're listening to this, you come visit. If you walk away and don't think we have a top 5% staff, then, you know, I'll buy you soda. Like, the point is, like, but you think about this. If you cram 28 kids into a room and just throw out a one-size-fits-all lesson plan with no consideration of personalization, differentiation, no re-engagement plan, no small group, workshop to meet people where they are, whatever it is, no UDL strategies. If you just, take the old Madeline Hunter lesson plan and throw it up and say, hey, we're gonna teach to the middle, right? The smart kids are gonna have to slow down a little bit and wait for us, and the kids who are struggling just have to try a little harder. If that's the lesson plan you're rolling out, okay, here's what's gonna happen. The high achievers are gonna achieve high. Some kids in the middle are gonna get it. Some kids in the middle are not gonna get it. The kids at the bottom are not gonna get it. And you're gonna stand there and think the kids at the bottom didn't get it because they weren't motivated. And you're gonna think your lesson plan kicks ass because the high achievers look really motivated, and you're gonna be like, yeah, I had lots of people motivated. Okay, that's what's gonna happen. We all know it. We've been in education long enough. We've watched teaching. This is how it works. If you just roll out a standard, boilerplate, off the internet lesson plan, basically if you're maybe a sub, I don't know, right? The same damn thing's gonna happen in a professional development setting. You cram us all into a room at the end of a day, and we walk in with all of our own baggage. I'm exhausted because the day that I had, oh Lord, I'm distracted. She's distracted over there because what she's got going on tomorrow is a big deal. He over there is this is his topic. He's so pumped to be here today because this topic is one that tickles his brain basket, so he's highly engaged. And what's gonna happen? There's going to be a handful of highly engaged people. There's going to be a handful of super distracted people. Some people in the middle are going to get it. Some people are not going to get it. And you go, professional development really should be designed in ways that model what good learning looks like, and B, there has to be something of a feedback loop where you go, hey, did this work? Because if it didn't, let's figure out why and do it better next time. And I throw that all out there because we had this really cool professional development yesterday from an outside presenter, and he was bitching. He's a great guy. He's got really awesome content, but his content is a little rinse and repeat. Like, he does this presentation at lots of places, and you can tell that because it's polished. The problem is, you walked into a room and didn't know some things, and this is probably on me. I'll own this. This is my fault. I should have been like, hey dude, give me an outline of your lesson plan. And then I would have been like, oh, this part right here, you're gonna spend 11 minutes on that? Yeah, this place could actually teach you 7 things about that topic, so skip that. Because at one point when we were talking about student behavior, which is really, I love. I can do a whole riff on behavior, right? And what are the antecedents to behavior? And I love behavior, and so I thought it was good. It was a good topic. But one of the things was environmental stimuli and how that affects human behavior, which I thought was a great little topic piece. The problem was that the presenter brought out this really funky dialogue about, hey, you might want to utilize what's called flexible seating. Oh, look, here's a video of a school in North Carolina who does some really interesting and innovative flexible seating. Meanwhile, this guy doesn't know that in our region, the school that the group that he's talking to are, I think, regionally known for this particular topic. And you're like, oh, brother, you just, did a boilerplate presentation. My fault. I should have previewed your presentation, but there was 11 minutes of lost learning time and may have disengaged some people. Maybe not. I could be wrong. We'll find out, and we get a little survey feedback. But I think professional development, much like daily lesson planning, it's critically important to think of it as a learning opportunity and recognize what are the best practices in learning. that learning is social, that learning is contextual. Like, honestly, establishing context of, hey, your school already does flexible seating, check. Then utilizing a social element of like turn and talk or small group conversation, something like that would have been a bit of a home run in the design of that PD as opposed to what we got. Now, again, that dude came in with his road show, did a great job. It was my fault for not, in advance, checking all those boxes. But I think it's fascinating that we put our kids through 180 days of professional development a year. And then we go through, I think we have like 18 professional development days or whatever it is, because 36 weeks a year, every other week. Yes, we have like 18 engagements a year. And you go like, okay, are we practicing what we preach? Are we modeling what should be done? Are we thinking about PD as learning? Are we thinking about learning for adults differently, the same, or like appropriately in comparison to how we do for students? So I was just waving to the crossing guard right there. I just pulled up to the school. There's some kids walking to school right there. My name is John Eick. You can find me on the Twitters at John_Eick. I really appreciate you. And hey, good morning. Good morning. For you being engaged in this podcast, for you listening, and thanks to the dialogue and the conversation that you dropped me on the back channel, on the tweets and the email. Got a couple emails recently over break being like, hey, where's the pod? It's back. Thank you for reaching out. All right. My name is John Eick. Thanks for listening. I really appreciate you. I hope you're having a great 2023. I'm digging it. I'm in my first week back with kids, and I just couldn't be more happy to be, a part of this gig. I got a board meeting tonight. I'll tell you how it goes tomorrow. All right. We'll catch you next time.